Good evening.
Hi.
Why do you do that?
Because that's my signature. Hi.
Like you're on a cartoon or something. Hey, look, great afternoon, great evening. We more or less came and said, hey, look, let's do a live tonight. Let's talk about how we overcame our trust issues. Over the last few days, we have been experiencing. Yeah, there you go with your phone and all that racket. But anyway, so over the last few days, we've been talking about how to overcome or how we overcame our trust issues, and it's funny because when we start going back and looking at what we did in order to overcome those trust issues, I think it's something that we need to probably discuss and just kind of share with everyone. Um, how we overcame our trust issues because we definitely had trust issues. Again, I said had. I mean, it's one of those things like right now for me, I don't have. I trust you with everything, including my life. Well, not everything. I don't trust you with my truck.
I was just going to say, I just had an issue
I
about
don't
the
trust you
truck.
with my truck. So you know
That's
what I'm saying.
bad.
So
Hey, Chris. Hey, Bernard. Hey, Anthony. Sherry. Hi, everyone. Roosevelt.
So I wanna just kind of say, hey, look, where Anthony and Kim came from, or I'm gonna say where I came from. From a trust factor, one of those things, where we kind of take things for granted. We feel as though our spouse should really trust us. But the question that we have to ask, are we being trustworthy? And so one of the things, or not one of the things, but our major issue that we had or that I had as far as being trustworthy was other people, other women, and not even other women, but other men. Not that I was sleeping with men or anything of that nature, and I wasn't even sleeping with women, but those conversations, no, I wasn't sleeping with men. You knew
I
that.
didn't say
But I'm just
men.
saying, but
You said women.
I say that, well, I wasn't sleeping with women either. But I mean, but the thing of it is that, what happens, inappropriate contact, right? That was an issue for me, going places and people saying, hey, how you doing? And maybe my hey might have been a little bit too friendly. Or, being that, I grew up in this area. A lot of people know me, and they, it's just really more or less. Uh, I wasn't really in a place where I could be trusted. So not just that, but it was other things that I couldn't be trusted with. My money skills have not always been where they are now. Was I able to, or was I trustworthy to take care of those bills, and I haven't always been that guy. And so there's some things that transpired that happened that I realized that it was key. It was a key factor for me. And if I wanted to be trusted, there were some things that I had to
Hey,
do.
Sherelle. Hey, Jessica. Tori. Tanya. Everybody's getting on. Hello.
And so, I want to say that, I haven't always had the greatest name. I've been known, a lot of people knew me, especially when, dealing with the buses, dealing with the bail bond business, dealing with the trucking company, people know me, and so, in that sense and fashion, was I able to be trusted by those people? Yes. Okay. But when it comes down to the people that I love and the people that were closest to me, the people that really matter, could I be trusted? Not a chance. And so, one of those things that I had to do is I had to realize and look at myself and say, would I trust me? And so, for a long time, I lied to myself. And I told myself, oh, man, you're doing great. You're crushing it. You're killing it. And yes, crushing it and killing it to other people. But when it came down to my family, it didn't matter. And just, I took.
Hey, Clara. Hey, Gloria. You're not saying hello to you.
No, I mean, hey, y'all. But anyway, so I mean, these are I have not always been this guy that you can say, you know what, he's all right. I haven't always been that guy, And it's not that I didn't want to be that guy. It's just that, I felt like I could skate on the people that were closest to me. And so, no, I couldn't be trusted. And so in going into, hey, Amberly, in going to...
Hey, Gloria. Hey, Jeremy.
And so, in going into our marriage or even our relationship, I wasn't, I didn't really care whether you trusted me or not.
Well, that's nice to know.
But I'm saying that was then. We're talking about then. Where do we come from? And I'm just being very transparent. I have a bad history with ex-wives, present wife. Okay, and I mean, and Anthony, that's one of the things. I mean, are we allowing people of the past? My past haunted. Oh my God, my past haunted me forever. It seemed like. I mean, it haunted me forever, and I never really understood why it was haunting me until Kim was basically saying, these people of your past, you're stringing these people along. Why don't you let them know that you're in a relationship or tell them that you're married? Tell them something. No, I didn't want to do that. I wanted the attention that all this was bringing, even though it was crushing. Mm-hmm. And so,
Hey, Jolena. Hey, Quentin.
I'm saying to you guys, that I haven't always been trusted or been able to be trusted as I am today. And so, I wanted to share a little bit about that for me, right? And so we have had trust issues on both sides, not that it was a infidelity scenario for Kim to me or me to Kim. It's just, can I trust you to do what you say you're going to do? Right? Hey.
Nikisha Woodford, hey.
Hey, look, so, it's...
JB tell me I used to be a quiet player, attention driven.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's on the sneak tip, right? And so, that's... I'm talking about me, and I want Kim to kind of get into, where her trust factors and things of the nature, because at this point in time, I'm going to be straight with you, we were not able to trust each other at all.
No, I wasn't. It was hard for me to trust in the beginning because of my history and from where I come from. It's just not a sob story, but it's true. It's real that it was just me and my 6 children. And then, I had them and went through bad relationships and then a marriage that, it's not that I downplay him. He just wasn't meant for me. And the things that we experienced in my previous marriage, and then the relationship made me not to trust him. I didn't trust him because everything that was brought to me was a lie. I felt like everything was a lie. So what makes him going to be any different than the next one? So in my mindset, all of them are dogs. All men are dogs. All are liars. That's what I said because that's the only thing that I was going off of. You know what I mean? And so then going off of that, guess what? That's the only thing that I knew. So in doing that and getting with him, it was like I had a wall built up. And I had a wall built up because I had no trust. I'm not going to trust you because what your race is no different. Your race, your color of your skin or your race was no different than what I was dealing with before. And you're a man. So you're no different. You know what I mean? So in being that you're no different, then guess what? It's going to be the same old thing. That's all I had to go off of. So when I got with Anthony, it was just like he was this busy guy. Like he was this bondsman and everything I turned around, he was getting people out of jail. He was here. He was traveling here. His time was like, up. It was just going. And I was like, I didn't call him dude then. He wasn't dude. He was, Anthony then. But in doing that, it was like, you know what? You don't got time for me. And the things that he was doing, he would do some junk like, if I call him on Monday, it would be like Thursday or Friday before I heard from him again. And you want me to trust you? No. I won't get down like that. I was like, no. And then he would get on the phone and he'd be like, I'll call you right back. And I was like, no, you're
right back don't never happen.
Right back
Faith Serrano said it's called anxious, preoccupied, and insecure attachment. I know all about it. So we've talked about me. I'm talking about what are the things, because, it was a trust thing back and forth. There were things that I would come to you and be like, Kim, I can't believe you did that. Why did you do that to me?
Well, money.
Okay.
That was the biggest thing. You didn't let me get to it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm trying to.
Me up. I was working my way up with his money.
Yeah.
He told he ain't trying to
I
let me
want you
tell
to
him.
tell your filth. No, I'm just messing.
It was money that he would give me because, again, I had the mindset what mine was mine and what his was mine. That's the mindset that I had because that's all I knew. He said, well, you give me this such and such amount and I'll take this and do this.
Well, it's not even that.
It was,
no,
but that's why I
right. But you had okay. So let's talk about credit cards and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, what dealing in credit cards? He would say, Kim, don't use the card.
And what would Kim do?
Use the card. You don't want me to tell the story. You want to tell my story. You want me to tell it. Or?
I want you to be. Let's talk about let's talk about like how we rebuilt it.
I'm telling
because
you.
it's crazy about what's really crazy is like the stuff that we went through.
Yeah.
I think that people like look at us and say, "Oh, that's perfect. They got a perfect marriage."
No, but
it's
you
not
didn't
even
let me
perfect
tell my
now.
story.
No, go ahead and tell your story. Put some color to it, because I mean,
no,
put some color
I
to
ain't
it.
gonna put no color
Yeah,
to it.
buddy, let's
Real.
talk about that.
But it would. He would say, Kim, do not use this card. Okay. Kim, have you used the card? Mm-mm. Knowing that I did, I used it. He said, "What are you doing? Why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep doing this?" And I'm like, I don't know. I did it because of this. I did it because of that. I had no really good reason to say why I did it. Or he would say, if I'm doing something for groceries or something, I'll be like, you know what? I forgot. You can't forget, Kim, because this is the account that the bills are coming out of. So you've got to let me know what's what. Because if this comes short or this comes short, then guess what? We're going to be short. And I was like, okay. And then sometimes, you know what? I admit I took it for granted. Oh, he'll fix it. He'll fix it. He'll fix it. I'm not going to worry about it until it got to the point to where it was like...
it couldn't be fixed.
Well, yeah, it couldn't be fixed. And then he started screaming and hollering at me. And I was like, all right, okay, I did it. Some of this ain't even worth it. You know? And I was just like, okay. He said stop, so stop. All right, then I phased out and stopped. But guess what? I started right back. Because it would go to like $2 or $3. And next thing I was here. Next thing I know, it's there. And it started back. He said, I'm going to tell you again to stop. Why do you keep doing this? And he was up there. Way up.
And so just to give you an idea, I'd rather you cheat on me than like lie to me. Oh, yeah. Right? And I mean, and for me, I mean, I know like a lot of women or even men would say, hey, look, I don't want to be cheated on. But the thing of it is that when it starts dealing with our well-being as a family, it's tough, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to get into some of the comments in here. Quentin Gore, what's up, man? Good evening to you. One of the keys to building and establishing a secure and stable relationship marriage is transparency and communication. We have to be 1,000% honest in our marriages because we are a reflection of each other. Bernard said, for us, Team Carter, it took us to look at each other's perspective to change some aspect past what's driving our thoughts. Like all men are dogs and all women are gold diggers. All right, great. And then Chris said the same thing. Okay, so, you know, the thing that I'm really trying to establish right now is that Kim and I we've crossed the boundaries of being trusted toward each other, right? And so it's so easy at the point of being distrusted to offer excuses of why I'm not going to ever trust you. Mm-hmm. Okay? You did this, okay? You spent on the credit card and I asked you not to, but I'm going to talk to Susie Q over here because Susie Q ain't lied to me.
But I didn't do that then when you did that.
I'm just saying.
Are you using that as an example?
Okay. Right. So, you know, or I'm talking to somebody and because you did that and you've been dishonest, then it gives me the right to be dishonest with you. And so a lot of times we look at things and we call it a tit for tat, or, you know, it comes into play of a competition. Mm-hmm. You know, are we competing against each other? And, you know, in being able to build or rebuild that trust, you know, to reestablish that trust, you know, you have to be able to do some certain things. And the number one thing that you have to do in order to be able to rebuild trust, and the thing that we had to do, because, you know, I'm telling you from our perspective or what we had to do in order to rebuild trust, the number one thing we had to do was forgive.
Was what?
Forgive.
Yeah, forgive. Yeah.
Okay. And so, you know,
that's hard.
It is very hard.
Forgiveness is hard.
It's very hard. But, you know, the thing of it is, and what's crazy is that forgiveness and commitment run together. right? And so even though there are two separate, two totally different words, being committed and then forgiving are two totally different words. The commitment to forgive and to forgive for the commitment, right? And so, one of the things that I had to do is I had to tell myself, okay, forgive her. Now I know that when you have a spending habit, because I've had spending habits before, and my epiphany with money and understanding personal finances came a lot earlier than Kim's did. So I had to really trust that she was committed to trying to stop. I knew that she couldn't stop all at one time. I also knew that I was going to have to continue to forgive her. Now, the question that comes up when we coach a lot of times is, how many times should I forgive my spouse for the wrong that they do to me? Okay? And so the answer to how many times you should forgive, there is an answer to how many times you should forgive your spouse. And the answer to that is, how committed are you to your marriage? Because the commitment basically is non-conditional. So okay. So if she crosses the line, or if he crossed the line, I gotta forgive her. If my commitment isn't to my marriage, then I can stop forgiving. And so that was one of the things that she and I had to do. We had to, number one, we had to talk about, how committed are we? And number two, can we forgive each other? Because, I did a lot of wrong. And she did a lot of wrong. And their wrongs were like from two different sides of the track, so to speak. But in dealing with that wrong, how committed are we to fixing the wrong? And how forgiving are we willing to be? If I couldn't just cut everybody off, if I couldn't just cut my circle off, are you going to be willing to keep forgiving me until I can cut that off? Are you going to be able to forgive me until I am able to get rid of my baggage? Are you going to be able to forgive me? Is your commitment to me strong enough to where you're going to give me the time allowed that I need to correct it? This is something that we both had to do. All right. Let's go.
Sherelle said, tick for tack actually creates more division than bringing you and your mate together and strengthening the bond. Forgiveness has to come in play, but do we actually fully forgive? No. Sometimes we don't.
No.
Say that.
And the thing of it is that, we forgive on a conditional basis of that you're not going to do it again.
Yeah. She said, I'm having trouble with that. When I think I have forgiven something, reminds me of that, and I haven't truly forgiven it.
Okay, so in that scenario, Sherelle, the thing that we have to do is we have to, and we're going to talk about how to control your emotions, right? And so in controlling your emotions is something that it happens in your subconscious mind. It doesn't happen in your conscious mind. It happens in your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind processes that emotion so quickly that you act on it. So, understanding, and we're getting into a little bit of a psychology discussion at this point, but guess what? It's all about our minds. It's all about our mindset and what we think. So our subconscious mind don't have the ability to determine what is right or wrong. And so our conscious mind does.
Okay. Bernard says trust is grown folks talk, expansion of the mind and the heart. Chris says men have to become and stay trustworthy to our wives. We all fall short, but don't fall down on your job as a husband. For it is to guide when needed and follow when necessary, but already protect her body and her mind. Bernard says, great comment, guys. Kimberly Langston said, my husband's trust issues come from what he saw others experience.
Emotion.
As a result, our finances are separate, his choice, which he makes me feel like we have a foot out the door. Distrust is the beast. Fortunately, we're both good with money, but trust is an issue.
Okay, so, Kim, that is a big issue because, trust as far as money is concerned used to be a big issue for us. it was a huge issue for us at some point, in our marriage. And it's gotten to the point where in the last, I'm going to say, year and a half to 2 years, that Kim has actually been able to grab this thing and say, you know what? He said, nope, that's what it is.
It ain't worth it. Like,
right.
hear your mouth.
Well, it's not worth it to see you cry to I didn't mean you do it. Yeah,
oh,
you
put mine out there, but you finished putting yours out there. Right.
But
Finish doing yours. You put mine, now you put yours.
Okay, so, and I don't have a problem with that because,
Hey, Jermaine.
I'm
I don't
free.
know who Jermaine is. I know who Jermaine is.
Yeah.
That's
so
Clara's husband.
Right. So, I don't have a problem with telling you what happened and things of the nature and really talking about it because I'm free from that. I've come across that, or I passed that area in my life that these things don't bother me anymore. And so, so Kimberly, back to your thing about the money and distress. Our money was separate for a while, and our money still basically is kind of separate. And so, but it's separate for the right reason. I like for her to have her own account in case we need to use that account. You know what I'm saying? So it just gives us something that we can say, okay, you know what? We need to put this here. We need to start saving. We don't have to open up another account. Hey, look, let's put this here. Let's put this here. And then we can, you can kind of pay attention to things as it goes. We kind of do have our finances kind of spread out. We have a couple businesses that, that she has access to that.
We have that now because it's needed.
It's very
each of us got 2 or 3 checking accounts because that's what's needed at this point. That's where we're at. Hello, Jermaine. Hello, Jessica. Bernard says laws of attraction. Can you touch on this? Emotions.
All right. So dealing with the emotions, and that goes back to, I think Kim said that things happen within their marriage, or it didn't happen within their marriage, but things happened with her husband and he saw things. And so what happens, our subconscious mind reminds us, hey, look, this is what happened. This is how this is going to turn out. It's almost like a credit report, right? And so the credit report does have a history, and it shows you what the history of what a person's ability to pay, just as your subconscious mind stores that information as into, hey, look, this is what people, okay, because we classify everybody in the same boat. And so because this person crossed the line, then, all of a sudden we look at, oh, that's the characteristic of this person. This is that person. They're going to do the same thing to me that somebody else did. And so what we end up doing is our emotions end up charging someone else for the activity that somebody else did way back in the day. Yep. And so, so we have to.
That's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's not fair at
all. It creates that scenario. So I want you to understand that, your emotions, the biggest thing that I can say in communication within your marriage is being able to control your emotions. If you're in a situation and your emotions are super high, then you may need to not talk about that situation or circumstances getting ready to happen. Communication is so much of a big issue, and being able to control your emotions it also creates a trust factor. Because if I come home and I'm raising sand because I see something that I saw in a previous marriage or a previous relationship, I come home and I charge everybody with that. Okay, and I'm going off, I'm slamming doors, I'm breaking stuff, I'm just being mean. Okay, so what happens is that creates a situation of distrust. Not being trustworthy is not always about cheating.
That's true. It can do a lot. It is. That's true. Let me see. But Kimberly said, but do we save together? Yes, we save together. We have one account that is more than one, but it's a savings account that he does. He handles all of that. So she asked again, so is it okay to have separate accounts?
Of course. I'm going to, again, we're being transparent. I got hit with a tax bill back in 2002 for $82,000. Okay.
82, dude.
1,000. All right. And so a lot of people sitting there like, man, you were rolling like that? Pissed? Yeah. And where's that money? I can't tell you.
That was before me.
I couldn't tell you.
I would have helped you.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, so
I would have helped you.
So having a tax bill for $82,000, I remember going to Wayne's Kitchen on New Bern Avenue to that greasy place, and you know, because it was, man, it was greasy. Man, you walk in that place, you come out, you smelling just like Chinese food. You ain't even got the Chinese.
It didn't matter to us.
It was.
You had to put Wayne's out there like
it was Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It was.
And I had,
our what? How long were we together?
I think it was like our second year.
That's what I
like
2 years in.
I go to Wayne's Kitchen. It's Valentine's. You know, I'm going to come home and we're gonna have Valentine's Day dinner from Wayne's Kitchen, and so I got ready to swipe my card, and they said decline. I said, I know, ain't no way it can be a decline, because I knew how much money I had in the account. Right? At that point.
In that account.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, okay, I'm good.
You were mad. You were big mad.
No, I was King Kong, man. And so
he called me. He was like, "Babe," and I said, "What?" He said, "Something's wrong with my card." I said, "What are you talking about? It won't work." And I know good and well I got money in there. I was like, "Okay, well, just don't you got another method of payment?" "Yeah, but that's not the point." He came home, and then when did you find out? The next day or when?
No, I called. So I called them and I said, "Hey, look, and it was with the credit union, and I said, where my money?"
You were big mad.
That's you didn't get the notice? No, I didn't get no notice. It's also IRS and a garnishment.
Took all this money.
Look, they got my checking account.
Yep.
They got my savings account.
Yep.
I had some investment accounts that had some stocks and stuff that I had bought.
They swiped you out, dude.
Man, they cleaned that out. I mean, when they left, I ain't have nothing but my behind. And it had a hole in it.
It was Valentine's Day. But at that point, he had it in somewhere else, but that was a huge unexpected withdrawal that he was not expecting truly at all. So when that hit, that knocked everything else that we had set up. That means everything that was going to hit that account, every bill that was going to be paid. Guess what? That put us in the negative. Big time.
Okay, so Bernard said, thanks, and I'm all about laws of attraction in a book or film. The secret, trust is in one's self is the start. You're right.
Go back up.
Okay.
Chris says, yeah, because it's the number one cause of marital problems. I think he was talking about
finances.
Money?
Yeah. Okay, so, and money really isn't the cause. It's really mindset. Okay, and so what happens is the money is just something as an equal play and used as a weapon, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. Pastor Jonathan Thomas said, "Good teaching, you guys. Why is it so hard for couples to put their money together in one pot?"
Are you on a personal page?
No.
You signed in on your personal page?
No.
You did?
Mm-mm. No, I'm sitting here. I'm not. Okay. We're on the same thing.
Okay.
All right.
No, I don't have that.
Okay, because your phone's flicked it. All right. No. So, Pastor Thomas, what I'm going to say is the reason that it's so hard for couples to put their money together is it's a trust factor. And the crazy thing is that if you don't trust your spouse with money, then you don't trust them anywhere else. Because the thing of it is that there's something happening or something has happened that creates that distrust. And so, it's basically a road that leads to distrust. And so that's basically how that's working. Hold on one second, because Kim is trying to tell me that I'm somewhere. No, I'm not. I am. So that's me right there. All right, that's me. You don't trust me? See, there you go. There she go with that foolishness. All right, so the money issue, and we're actually in process of doing something about the money and doing it more formal so that you can have some information as into how to become to put your money together and be able to hold each other accountable. That's the big piece,
Anthony says she can have my money. I don't have that much anyway.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. It's been a rough winter. Okay. And so, and so, that was the beginning of us being able to create and build, and how we overcame our trust, right? And how we overcame our trust issues. Another thing that we did, other than the commitment and forgiving, is we had to be able to be honest, right? And the transparency, right? So one of the things that we had to do is we had to be honest with each other and say, hey, this is my problem. I'm going to own up to it, and this is what I'm going to do to fix it. Can you help me by holding me accountable? Okay, and so a lot of times we
get your little friends, all your little friends saying they broke. Anthony, Chris saying same here, but JB to my he got lint. Get your little friends say they ain't got no budget.
Hey, look, you know what? I have to watch people that say they don't have no money, because they usually got a backyard full of it. You know what I'm saying?
He got lint. Yeah, right.
Man, go dig that coffee can up.
Yeah, right.
I know you got mattress money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
mattress?
you do. Yeah, if you take a couple of them stacks out, you can sleep better at night.
Oh.
But
man.
and so we're gonna move on, because I get it. I mean, we're wanting to have fun, but I want to make sure that we give you guys the information to help you get your trust level. And Jermaine talking about his wife want the lint. Lord Jesus, what's she gonna do? Take it up there? You know what I'm saying? He ain't got nothing. He ain't got nothing.
She want the lint.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, look. So
that is too much.
All right. So. And understanding this, so we have to be transparent. We have to be honest with ourselves and say what we have to own our situation. We have to own what it is that we're going through and our situation and problem. The thing that I had to do is I had to own the fact that I had extra conversation for everybody else. I had to own that. I had to own the shadiness that I had. I had to own the deception that I was giving out. I had to own it. I had to own it. And so when you're able to own it, the first step to recovery is being able to admit that you have a problem. Okay? So, I had to understand that, it may be some things that Kim may not be providing, because, we understand that cheats come from the lack of emotional needs. We understand that. But, at some point in time, we got to say, okay, you know what? I can't use that as an excuse.
Right.
Okay? Because if I have a lack of, and most people don't even understand what their lack is. They don't even know what their lack is because they haven't been able to communicate, or they don't even know what to communicate. I remember, times that, you and I would sit down and we didn't even know what we could even talk about.
Right. Right.
Okay? So, so we have to go to the mirror and we have to say, hey, look, what do I need to do to change me? What do I need to do? Why am I looking around? Why am I looking for prey? Why am I looking for something else to happen? Right? And, am I starving for that much attention that I got to seek it through getting somebody else? Or I'm just trying to see if my mat game is still strong.
Your what game?
My mat game.
You had mat game?
I ain't have. I'm weak as dishwater.
I said you had mat game?
Oh, I might have had it. I got you, didn't I?
Dude, it's not even like
Man, you know what I said.
It's not
but
even
anyway,
like that.
we want to go there.
It's not
I
even
would
like that.
trip.
It's
Pop
not
for me to
even
ask for
like
my
that.
bike back.
Dude, it's not even like that with you. What?
Okay, so the big thing was just really basically taking for me, and was constantly forgiving, constantly reminding myself that my commitment level should be a 10. And the last thing that we did to restore, to overcome our trust issues, was communicate about the things that created the distrust.
What about when you don't want to communicate about
You
it?
get
to the point, you know what I mean? You get to the point to where, this is all over again. You know what? And that's the point where I get to. I got to the point to where this was me. All right, you know what? Cool, I did it. I don't even want to talk about it. That's the point. And I was wrong. And I admit now that I was wrong. But I said it then. He was like, well, Why are you so mad that you didn't want to talk about it? It was you that did the wrong. Duh, I know that. I just don't want to talk about it. So was I holding myself fully accountable for it? No. I wasn't. I just wanted to, wanted him to go ahead. My eyes went up. Say what you gotta say.
I don't want to hear it. I
It's whatever. And did this.
Yanky.
Really?
I want.
Oh, it was like that.
Yeah,
that was
man.
you.
Want.
That was how you sounded in my ear. That is. But I was like, I don't even want to hear this. Let's get it over with. Okay. And then once I did that, I was like, okay, the next day I'm like, we can start, go back to where we were. But sometimes we didn't. Mm-mm. We didn't go back because he was just like, you don't get it. So like, you don't get it. You don't get it. And I'm like, is it that serious?
See no value.
And well, I didn't see it as it then. So I was like, no, it's really not that serious. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, we did it. I said I accepted it. But he probably truly knew that I had said it just to say, okay, cool, it's over with. Now let's move on. But you're not able to move on. You know what I mean?
You
just
can't.
like that.
I mean, you have to deal with that issue. You have to talk about it. Let's communicate. Let's be transparent. Why did you do it? And if you don't have a reason as into why you did it, then your emotions did it. Mm-hmm. Okay? A lot of times our emotions puts us in places that make us just do things. And then when our reason in return, we don't even know why we did it. Mm-hmm. Okay? And, even the right stuff that we do off our emotions, that we don't understand why we did it. Okay? And so those are really the true steps to starting to overcome your trust. Mm-hmm. I mean, overcome your trust issues, right? Mm-hmm. And being able to talk about your situations, being able to talk about your scenarios. What are you lacking? Okay, what are you lacking? What is it that you need in order to build your trust? You need that communication, and you gotta suppress your emotions. A lot of times before, when we were really in our early stages of trying to rebuild our marriage, I would have to write down what it is that I wanted to communicate. And when I got to the end of my list of being able to communicate, I had to stop talking, because at that point I'm shooting from the hip. And when you shoot from the hip, you're talking from emotions. Emotions never get you the results that you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Never.
I agree.
Okay? Because in the heat of the moment, you're willing to say and do anything because you've been hurt. Mm-hmm. All right? And hurt people. All right? So let me ask you this.
Clara says that's true. We do need to take a look in the mirror. Bernard mm-hmm. said there are different forms of communication. Sherelle says the Charlie Brown effect. Bernard again says silence hurts my wife. We have to talk. Sherelle says silence irritates my hubby. Bernard said, but actions really speak trust. Tori says emotions will have you acting irrationally. And Chris says, nope. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know what Chris is talking. That's Micah McGow. I don't know what he's talking about.
So here, we've thrown a lot out. Okay, we talked about the commitment. Okay, if your commitment is less than a 10, okay, then that means that your commitment is conditional, and so you're not really committed. Mm-hmm. Okay, are you willing to forgive? All right, if you're not willing to forgive, then your commitment is not on 10. Okay, and guess what? When you say, well, I'll forgive him, but I'm not going to forget, mm-hmm. you just said, I'm going to forgive you with my mouth, but my mind is going to remember that you did this, and I'm going to bring this back up at a later date. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so when you say you forgive someone and you bring it back up, guess what you did? You lied.
Yeah.
All right? And so at the point that you lied, guess what you just did? You just messed up the trust. Right? So when you cross the trust line can be crossed in so many different ways. The trust line can be crossed in just not doing what you said you're going to do. Mm-hmm. If you say you're going to pick me up at 6 o'clock, pick me up at 6. If you're going to call me at 7:30, call me at 7:30. Okay? And I realize that things do happen, but things don't happen every day. Do what it is that you say you're going to do.
I was late.
You've been late before. And one of the things I'm going to say also is how do you start rebuilding trust? And you start with small things. Okay? I'm going to call you in the morning, or I'm going to text you at noon, and text at noon. Okay? Start out with the small things. We're going to go here when I get home, or hey, look, let's go out to eat and let's be there by 8. Okay, you have to start out with the small things. I'm gonna pay my bills on time. Guess what? It took a long time. It took when I started really making a gesture or a stride toward trying to pay my bills on time to get my credit straight. It was hard because I was so used to not paying them on time. I was used to not being consistent. And so when I finally started getting myself to the point where I can start making my payments on time and doing the things that I need to do, then it really made things a lot better. Okay. And so, yes, it's very hard to take those steps at first. However, as you start taking these small commitments, as you start talking about the things that, your commitment level, talk to your spouse about, hey, look, how committed are you? Right? I know I've messed up. That was something I had to really come down and sit down with Kim and say, look, I know I've messed up. I know I've hurt you. You forgive me? Right? And I would hear, I'll forgive, but I'm not going to forget. But over time, I've realized that, it's up to me to try to really break down that trust barrier. Right? And just the same as her. Each day that she didn't use that charge card, each day that she didn't lie to me about something that she had done, each day just knocked that trust wall or the barrier down just a little bit more. Trust is not something that you're going to be able to gain overnight. It's just not. It's not. So, all right. So,
and Bernard said trust is accountability. I think Kathy Gibson asked, can you share with this someone who's not on Facebook? JB answered the question and told her to copy the link.
All right, so
emotions
here.
Can make you cry sometimes. That's what Tori said.
So,
Waleed said hello. I think he got a question. I don't know if he got a question. His hand is up.
All right. So, Kathy, what I'm going to say is that, yes, this video, actually, we're going to make it public. However, it's going to only be on our youprosper.life page, okay? If JB, if you could post up the link for youprosper.life, I'll have this thing loaded up by in the morning. So if you want, and I'll try to edit out a lot of the clowning and things of that nature, but
why?
Yeah, because that's me.
No,
and so
don't
anyway,
edit out clowning. This is, you said transparent.
I am transparent, but
okay, so don't edit out.
So I want, so yeah, if you would go to the youprosper.life page, and then it'll be, it'll be there. Okay. All right. So, folks, here we are. We're at the end of. Let me just make sure I recap because I think I got sidetracked. Anyway, the commitment level. Make sure your commitment is on level 10. Forgiveness, and then honesty about your situation and position. All right, and accountability. Right. We want to make sure that you're being accountable.
Don't. He's not going to edit it.
Yeah, I won't.
Thank you, Kathy. He
All
won't
right.
edit it.
And so, let's make sure we're there. Now, I'm going to open it up for a little bit about, with questions. If you have some questions or comments, let's talk and we'll read them out real quick, and we'll go from there. Or, you know what? I'm like this right here. Yeah. So if we have any questions or anything or comments, let's go at those real quick.
Let's get them rolling.
Okay. All right. So we got Sherelle, I think, with the first one. Can you honestly say I love you as you are without requiring anything to change? Do you ever waver on that? Okay. Can you honestly say I love you as you are without requiring anything to change? Do you ever waver on that? I'm going to say this, okay? When you say that you love someone as they are, that means as you know them. There are things that we don't know about people, okay? That as we begin our relationship, it's one of those things that I say all the time that, we have personal we have a personal trait, and then we have a characteristic trait. A lot of time, what we're drawn to with our spouse, or what we were drawn to with our spouse, is their personality. Okay, and so your personality says, "Hey, look, you're a good guy." That was me, right? that was me. That it was me that, you know, I had my personality made you say, oh, he's a good dude. But my character sucked. Because if you got close enough, I bit you. Okay? And I didn't care about it. So my character was really grimy. All right? And so can you honestly say that you love a person as they are? Yeah, you can. I really believe you can. But I think that at the same time that you as an individual, you as someone that want the best for someone, you're going to want them to change. What do you think?
Yeah, but you know, I guess when you say you love a person as you know as they are, I mean, I accepted you for the way you were, with or without. It didn't. I see love as in you. If you have, you have. If you don't, you don't. I look beyond because I was taught that way. That's something that it was not based upon conditions. It was not based upon what you had. Because my grandma taught me, look, this is what you got.
Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about, let's say, for instance, you know, if you got with me and you found out that, I mean, I had a real bad habit of doing something like just crazy.
That's what I'm saying. You love a person for what they are. Yes, I have that ability. I think you can. That's my personal question. I can. I'm not going to waver. I can really say that I love you. When I love you, I'm loving you as well as, I may not like your issues.
Yeah, at one point you said, I don't know if I love you anymore. You don't remember that?
That must have been when you was
I might have been that. Yeah. All right, so Junior Bishop says study shows that things you love are almost identical to the things you also hate. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Anyone else have any questions? I hope I did I answer your question, Sherelle, to the best. You asked, do you waver on it? Yes, I believe at some certain points in time we do waver. It doesn't cancel out our love. It doesn't change our intents of love. What it changes is it just wavers, right? It goes up and down like a roller coaster, mm-hmm. right? And so one of the things that I always say is, oh Lord.
Anthony getting ready to start something. Yeah, he getting ready to start.
Forgive and commitment. All right. And so one of the things I want to say is that, you know, love doesn't really have any levels. Okay. That's, love is not something that is on a level. So a lot of times I hear people say, I'm not in love with my wife anymore, or I'm not in love with my husband anymore. And I just don't believe that love has different levels to it. I think either you love a person or you don't. Either you're committed or you're not. You know, anything less than a 10 is not a commitment. Anything less than, I don't know if I love you today, it's just not there. Okay?
He said he don't love the snoring. That's what Anthony said. JB said you can't live without it now. She said that she paid him no attention.
All right. And Pastor Jonathan Thomas said, God bless you all. I enjoyed you, and I'll tune in on the next one. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you giving us your time this evening. Lakeisha said, I paid that no attention. And then Anthony says, I'm all in. Gloria Brown says, how can you continue a marriage relationship when both partners have trust issues? Again, I mean, so Gloria, here again, we're talking about how committed are you? If your commitment is on 10, and you truly have a 10 commitment, then you're going to have to forgive. Okay? Forgiving and bringing it back up a week later, 2 weeks later, is not forgiving. You know, so at that point in time, it really comes across as a lie. So now, you know, you're forgiving even though it had a good intent. You just messed up your trust issue. You just built another layer of brick on top of your trust barrier. So we have to, how you get past that is you get past it by controlling your emotions. Okay? So yeah, I understand you're feeling like, here we go again. This crap is going to happen again, right? I get it. But you got to pump your brakes. You got to slow down and bring your racing mind to a stop and ask yourself, I did forgive him. My level of commitment is a 10. Now, how do I need to process this action? Okay? And so that's your start. Okay, that's your start. When both have trust issues, both of you are going to have to do that. Both of you are going to have to hit the reset button. We use the reset button a lot. All right? And so you hit the reset button. How you hit the reset button? You reaffirm your commitment to each other and you forgive each other for anything that happened in the past, not to be brought up as ammunition or as a bullet to be put in a gun to shoot in war. Okay?
Sherelle said, what is your approach when one partner is seriously considered ending the marriage and the other one wants to save it?
Okay, so here, let me say this. The reason that people quit marriages, relationships, jobs, they quit ministries and things of the nature is that they don't have the answers to get past that situation. You just don't have the answers, right? And so a man will only go after what he believes that he can acquire or obtain. And so when a person says, I quit marriage or I quit this marriage or this relationship, they don't have any idea as into how to acquire that level in that relationship that they're needing to acquire. So what we have to do is at that point in time, if there's one person that's willing to fight hard enough, then that one person, we can take that one person and mentor them to a place of leadership within the marriage. It's not going to feel good, but we can mentor them to that place in leadership in marriage to have that influence on that spouse that will show them the right answers and not give them the right answers. So, it's a tough place. I believe it can be overcome. I believe that, you can change a person from wanting to leave to them begging not to leave. It's all about your level of influence and how committed you are and how forgiving you are in your marriage. That means that you may have to forgive your spouse even when they don't forgive you. And you may have to forgive them even when they're not able to forgive themselves. So forgiveness and commitment are the very key to turning a situation around where someone wants to leave and the other person wants to work it out.
Kimberly says, loving someone does not mean you will like everything they do or everything about them. It's about how you react to those things you do not like and how you communicate to the one you love, how those things you dislike affect you and how you feel. That's true.
Okay.
Bernard says, that's my wife, Kimberly. That's true. That is very true, Kimberly. You don't have to like everything they do. I love you, but I don't like everything you do. Leaving the socks on the floor. Stuff like that. I don't like everything you do. And he knows. This dude knows. He knows I have a bad OCD. But does he leave the socks on the floor? Anyway, he just leave them there. So I would continue sometimes I would say, dude, you know what? Can you pick those socks up and just, when you go into the bathroom.
Have I not been doing better?
You've been doing a little better. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be wanting to trust.
So that's a little better. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me show y'all how to do it. I'm gonna pull all my socks down, and she get up in the morning. She's gonna have all my socks to pick up.
When I leave and I go to my hair appointment, when I come back on Friday from my hair appointment, when I come back, and usually because he knows I like the bed just pulled up, and if he don't do anything else, just do that. At first he wasn't doing it, so now I got so that he does do it, and then I'll go to the side and look and peep around to see, if he's got his socks up. And sometimes, I give him a thumbs up. He tries. He's trying.
All right. So Faith says she just woke her husband up out of a snore because their baby asked, could I get daddy to stop?
Snore? Oh, my God. Chris, I call him Michael, but Chris said, in relationships, you have to sacrifice something in order to become the total mate partner to another human being. You can't keep all of your old ways in something new and expect it to grow. That's true.
Very true. Very true. And I think that's another trust. That's another thing that we had to do, overcoming our trust issues. I told him early, or in 2012, I said, you give me this. No, in 2011, I said, you give me this, and I promise you in 2 years that we'll be able to buy a house. I promise you.
And I wasn't with it at first.
Oh, no, she won't even.
I was like, no, you're not getting my money. No, this your money, and this is my money. I'm not giving you my money because all I knew was for somebody to take what I had
and run
and scatter with it. And then it was me and the kids looking at me trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. Then I was robbing Peter to pay to Paul and telling Mary to check in the mail and lying the whole time. So that's all I was used to. So when my mindset hadn't changed, it hadn't switched over to where, you know what, I can trust him that he's going to do what he said he was going to do. You know, until I got that point and said, you know what, I'm willing to try. And I did. I tried the first 2 times, and then I reneged on the third, and then I went back. I mean, was it easy? No. It's not easy. You work this time, and I got to turn over all of this. But at that time, I wasn't looking at the bigger picture. I was looking at what was present right then. And then on top of that, I wasn't for the team. It was Kim. It was Team Kim.
Okay.
It wasn't Team Davis.
All right. So Clara Easton, when you trust with all you have and your mate have trust issues, how do we come together to get on the same page? All right. So Clara, that's a great question. Okay. Again, commitment and forgiveness is always going to be the start. That's going to be a reset button. The other thing is that you guys have got to sit down. Do you know what your husband's dream is? Okay. Does your husband know what your dream is? And when we look at your dream, or when you look at your dream, and now it's time for the Eastons to sit down and to come up with some goals.
Robertson. Hold on, she has Easton here. That's Clara, but that's Jermaine's wife, Robertson.
Okay. Okay, so Robertson, you gotta get your name fixed. That's throwing me off. But anyway, so Clara, what happens is you guys have to dream together. The dream is very important. Right? And so when you're dreaming, you guys are able to see what is the best life look like for you guys? What's your best life look like? And so when you look at what your best life look like, then you have to say, let me put some goals down that's going to get me to my best life. Okay, so that's what puts you on the same page. But at the same time, you got to forgive everything that just happened. You got to be committed to your marriage and your team. You got to be committed. You got to be just as committed as you are to your NFL team, just as committed as you are to your NBA team. A lot of us are ride or die fans for Carolina State, Duke, whoever your team is. You have more commitment a lot of times to that team than you do to your spouse. And look, your team lose. And guess what you do? You forgive them and you stay a fan, right? Why is it that we can't do the same thing with our marriage? Why is it that why can't I be my wife's biggest fan, right? Because I realize that she's going to lose sometime, and I still need to be cheering for her. I still need to be saying, you know what? She's my team. She's my best, right? And so that's how we get onto the same page, dream together, set goals together, and be accountable together. And when you start fighting for your common cause, then you can move forward. One of the things that I want to challenge you guys to tonight also is I want to challenge you to develop a, what do you call it? I'm having a brain fart. But I can't remember what it is. Oh, a mission statement. I want you guys to have a mission statement and draw up a mission statement for your marriage. What is your marriage's mission, right? Because each one of you guys are joined together at the hip. You went two to become one. And so that one has to have a mission. What is your mission? You guys need to develop a mission statement, right? And so that'll get you on the same page as well.
That's awesome.
All right. Do we have any other questions? All right. Sherelle says, you already answered my question, which was, can coaching help if one of the spouses don't want it or is losing interest in the relationship? Yes. Let's see here. Bernard, thank you. Good job, Aunt. Thank you. Good stuff, y'all. Everyone's awesome. True. Good point, Aunt. Awesome, Aunt. Love it. True. At Clara War Room, biggest supporter. And yes, so true. All right, so do we have any other questions or anything, comments?
You gotta give them a few minutes. You know it's delayed.
It's delayed. It's not on time. It ain't like Jesus.
It ain't like Jesus. It ain't like Jesus.
All right, come on. Let's sing a hymn right quick.
No.
Come on.
No.
I want to sing.
No. That is not your calling. Stay in your lane.
Oh, you trying to throw me out there? Okay.
You
know what?
can't sing.
You couldn't hold a note if I put it in your
I am
hand.
trying to. I know where I'm supposed to be.
Okay, can we touch on blending families? Okay, so I'm going to tell you that is really tough, because there again, here we are talking about overcoming trust issues. A lot of times the kids, again, the emotions that the kids have or they've experienced in past pains and hurt of the parent, right? So they see similarities in the relationship. They see similarities in actions and things of that nature, and their respect levels slide down the drain. In blended families, I'm going to say this: the spouses, the kids that you bring into the marriage, you have to put them in perspective, and you have to let them know that they're going to have to respect the other spouse. And you need to also let it be known that there are consequences and repercussions to the disrespect. You guys need to be on the same page. Blended families, and I'm gonna even say families that are not blended. Your kids cannot see you at odds with each other. If you're having an issue, then you guys need to discuss that outside the home. Go for a ride. Dream a little bit as you're riding. Hey, look, let's go over to this place, or hey, look, let's look at some houses here. And dream while you talk about this issue and this situation and circumstance. You got to get away from the house if you're going to talk about it. You got to. And I think that's very key to being able to blend your families. Respect. That's something that as spouses we have to. One of the things I had to do is I had to tell my kids, hey, look, you're gonna respect Kim, and if you don't, we're gonna have a great big misunderstanding. Well, my kids already know I don't play, so chances are I didn't have any issues, and I didn't have any problems with the kids on my end. I think that.
Well, I did.
Yeah,
Because my kids were just used to me, and they weren't used, especially the oldest. Well, the one that's right up under Alex, KJ, Kawan. He had an issue because it was just when it was me and his 5 brothers and sisters. Guess what? That's all he knew was him being up front, him being the man. So when it was time for him to step down as being the man, he was very protective over me, but I had to let him know, there comes where you have to draw a line. And I felt obligated to him. I felt obligated that I had to do what he wanted me to do when he wanted me to do it, because I felt like, because he sacrificed being a child, in some of the years. But then I also had to put my foot down, and I could never understand why. Anthony, the same thing you're telling me, why can't you tell them? And he would always say, well, it's up to you. You need to tell me. You need to set that in. And then when you set that in, because they're going to automatically come back to me, which is true, but I couldn't see it at first. And then all of a sudden I started saying, I was like, whoa. We're not going to do this. This is what we're going to do. This is what's said, and this is what's going to be done. Whatever he said, I'm following suit. And the moment that I start following suit, in behind you and seeing what you were saying and backing him up, not saying one thing before him, and then when he leaves, it was something different, because all we were used to were just us. But in being able to follow suit with him and saying, because once they get in between that gap, and there's a gap in between you. They're
gonna put a wedge there every time.
Do it every single time. They're gonna do it every single time. Chris, your little friend told you the same. Please don't. Not him the same. Blended Faith says blended family here and exactly been about on exactly what you said. And Dia says, hey, Dia, how can you continue to change for the best, but your spouse is used to you being the way that you were? Is that trust issue?
No, it's not trust. It's not a trust issue at all. It's mindset. Okay, and so the thing that we say on the huddle, I can't make my wife do nothing. I'm not even going to tell her to do something. I'm not going to tell her, hey, look, go do this. Or I have to ask, and there's a way to do it. You have to motivate. You have to motivate your spouse. If you want something out of your spouse that you're not getting, then ask yourself, how can you motivate them to do that? It's all about leadership. It's all about being able to lead your family to that place that you want them to be, not tell them to go, right? And so Are we leaders? And that's the question that we have to ask ourselves. Do we need to talk about how to lead our families? Do we need to talk about, the leadership qualities and what are things that we need to be doing inside of our homes as leaders and not as just dictators and barking orders and things of that nature? I think that's a big key is just being a leader.
Mm-hmm. Faith says, wait a minute, Bernard says they have a Brady Bunch.
Well, no, you don't. No, you don't. Come see us when you get 9.
Yeah. Faith says got to be a united front.
Got to be.
Says must be on one accord. Yes.
Got to be in one Honda.
Because guess what? If you don't, I guarantee you, kids are smarter than we give them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that in our children, in this home right here, I can speak for our 9. Listen, you got some that will manipulate you, that will feed off of me and say, if I say no, they go straight to dude. Or either sometimes they bypass me. I already know what I'm going to say out the gate. They go straight to dude. Anthony. And there it is. Sucker. See that face right there? That's what he do. And I will say, didn't I tell you to tell them no? Well, I mean, it's this, and he would come up with this, and it's like,
so she should have told him not to come see me.
But then I would say, and he says, well, next time he would come, they come and say, he would say, well, no, talk it over with your mama because you ain't going to get me in trouble this time. I ain't going down this time. But then I'm telling them, because they had that, they thought they had that ability where they could drive that wedge in between to when I said no, all I got to do is tell Anthony, and Anthony will soothe it over so mama accept it, and mama will be okay when Anthony say something about it. And sometimes he did get me. He'd be like, well, Kim, don't do this or don't do that, or it could be like this, it could be worse. And he will always get me to see the bigger picture and the most positive side. But sometimes when it bit him back, he'd be like, oh, I ain't doing that no more. I ain't doing that no more.
And guess what? I will do it again. And you know why I would do it again? Because of my commitment and my forgiveness.
Yeah.
And just...
Yeah, but my point was that I'm more with them than you are because you're working. So I already know what they're gonna. I already know that they were setting dude up. I already know what the next thing is that if I say no, he'll hit the door or a text, and when he get that text, he already know.
So Lisa Good Overby says, I'm glad you're touching on blended families and one of our biggest issues. Lisa, I'm gonna invite you to get onto the wives.
Call, because that's what we're talking about. This is our month talking about family connection.
Yeah.
On the call this whole month, we're talking about blended families, and that's going to be one of our topics.
So join the ladies' room in the conference call, and I'm sure somebody will put the link up on here so that you'll have the information to get on that call on Thursday nights at 8:30. Bernard said, okay, go ahead.
Having a blended family takes work. We're going through it too. I think we as parents should show strengths and less weaknesses. And that's true because they feed off of that.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. It's almost like they sit back and pray. Prey. Oh, well, mama ain't feeling too good, or mama doing this.
Let's go and do it right now.
Let's go and do it right. Let's get it. Or Anthony in a good mood. He come through the door. Anthony in a good mood. He cracking jokes, which he does anyway. But he's more quick now to say,
I'll crack the joke with you and tell you, hell no. Hey, look, I learned a new word about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. I learned this new word and it said no. And I'll be still laughing and smiling at you.
And they be like, what? Anthony, don't even worry about it. And it's like, you already knew I didn't say no. So they thought that they would come back and play on him. But then he knows if I'm saying no and he said yeah, then he got to look at me. And give me a reason why you go and trump what I says. And that was another problem that we had. When he said something, I had to make sure what he said, that it had to balance out. It had to equal out. It couldn't be like this or like this. Whatever he says, that's what it is. Right. Whatever I said, that's what it is on most circumstances.
And so here again, I mean, this all leads back to trust, right? Yeah. It all leads back to trust. It comes back, trust is not just about cheating. Mm-hmm. It's not just about, lying.
It's your everyday life. It's everything that you do on your job, the children,
exactly.
your spouse, money, everything that you do. The car. He trusts me. I'm gonna keep my car washed. I'm still working on that.
And it's still working on that. You know what was funny is that I'm sitting there and saying I learned a new word. You know what song came to mind?
What?
Hell to the no.
That same song about the switch, you a dummy. Cut it out. You so dumb.
All right. And so Faye said, sometimes I wish that I hadn't jumped in the middle of some things that my husband said to the kids. I got defensive and now I'm trying to reprogram the kids.
And that's hard.
It
And then
is.
I did it too. You had to go back, and then I had to say to myself, you know what? Just exactly what he said was going to happen. It did happen. You know what I mean? So when it did, it's like, okay, now I have to step back and look at the whole entire picture and say, you know what? Okay, 9 times out of 10, not to predict what dude's going to say, but 9 times out of 10, I do sometimes. And I say, well, he's going to say this, so you know, it's going to be like this. And then if there's an issue, I'll ask him, can we talk about something? You know,
hell to the no.
You do not. You do not. So I'll say, can we talk about something? And then when look at your friend. Look at your friend.
That's my peach right there.
And so I said, you know what? I said, you know, when he says something and they could not, like if I'm home and Anthony's at work and I can't reach him, I'm not going to call him unless it's something really, really important and the kids present me with something. I'm going to wait till they get home and then I'm going to close the door, because that's another thing. When kids see you doing this back and forth there, they see you going back and forth with each other. You know what? That is the biggest time. Oh, it's war. It's wartime then. You know what I mean? Because that's like, all right, mom on 5,000, aunt on 5,000. Oh, whatever is you know, it's gonna be on.
Yeah, it's time to get it now.
Yeah, we're gonna get whatever we need to get, and they will do it. They will pray on that and do that. I'm telling you what we know. Cause them jokers upstairs will be.
And they don't even realize
they
be trying to work it. But you know, and the thing of it is, again, you know, this goes back to the trust factor. You know, one of the things, if I'm wrong, okay, she's not gonna correct me in front of the kids. That's a no. Right.
Close the door.
And so and then if I'm wrong and something needs to be readjusted or a decision needs to be reversed, you know, it's not for her to go reverse the decision after we talk. It's for me to go reverse that decision. It's for me to go make that change. And so, you know, we have to and vice versa. You know, we have to understand that, you know, when someone makes a decision, we need to go with that decision. Right or wrong or indifferent, you still have to go with that decision and then just say, you know what, you need to think about this and let's go back and let's revamp this, and all right, now, you know, do we need to go fix this, or am I okay to go back and fix it, or are you gonna fix it, or
because you can pretty much predict what the outcome is gonna be on some things.
A lot of times.
If you do, if he says no, he has a really good reason for it to say no, Kim. Don't allow them to do that. And for the life of me, I'm still trying to figure out. Sometimes I still try to figure out, why is he saying no? Like, why is he saying no?
Get your friend.
Who? Oh, the Pope. They call him the Pope.
Evangelist.
Kia White.
Prophetess.
Co-pastor.
Great apostle, Pentecostal, apostolic.
Church of God in Christ.
Church of God in Christ on top of the mount. In the backyard.
In the tabernacle.
Man, we love you guys. Hey, look, so.
A praise. Ended off with a praise.
And so, all right. So, any other questions in reference to, you know, I think the blended family is a key thing. And I think that that's something that, you know, is something that, you know, the wives are going to be addressing on their call. I think that the next time that we come back, we're going to try to do these marriage moments every week, but I'm not going to make a commitment to you right yet that we're going to do it every week. Let's see here. All right, Sherelle said, when you have all children present for vacation or holidays, is it fair to buy one without buying all? I feel like if you don't have it for all, then figure out how to make it work. All right, so let me kind of give you the.
You got loud.
Let me All right, let me tell you how it works here. Okay.
How does it work? I'm interested in this. I really
All
want
right.
to hear how it
So
works.
how
does it work?
As far as Christmas is concerned, we don't do gifts. We don't do gifts at all during Christmas. And the reason that we don't do gifts at Christmas because what's the reason for the season, right? And so let's talk about. And what we did is we said. What we said is, okay, what's the reason for the season? We're celebrating Jesus' birthday. Now, how would you feel if someone got a gift on your birthday? Okay? And so,
but that's to each his own.
It is
Everybody's not
each
like
his
that.
own.
If you
Right.
celebrate, if you
celebrate, you celebrate, and that's great.
Christmas, but I think this is just my personal opinion. If you are the one who are ones that give gifts for Christmas, like we don't have any babies, we got all teenagers on up to grown folks. So in doing that, but when they were young, even in doing that, we made them realize what the true meaning of it was. You know, it's not all about in the giving. It's not. I mean, in the receiving from. That's not what it was all about. But if that's what you have, this is just my personal opinion. I believe this is what I believe. If you can't do for one,
don't do for none.
Don't do for none of them. That's
now,
just what I believe.
I'm gonna tell you like this right here now. With 9, you know, your best time to shop is probably Christmas. You better get them sales, boy. You better get them sales.
Or no, what about what do you call that?
Black Friday.
Black Friday.
Blue Friday, Red Friday. Now look here, you better be catching some sales when you got them big families like that right now. You better be catching them sales. You better not be worrying about Christmas. You better be saying, look, I need to get this.
Yeah.
I need to get this
or
right
the
here.
New Year's sale, the after Christmas sales. That's when you really do it, because that's when we did it a lot. I would take the girls and for Malachi, he'd be the only boy in there.
I know.
And
right?
Malachi, I call him Bubba now, but Malachi, he shops like a girl. He walk around the store and around the store and around the store and keep going. And the girls are like, man, just make up your mind. Just get what you gonna
It's
get.
the total opposite.
And they'll go in. They're ready to get in and get out.
He wants to spend. He's a career shopper. All right, so let's go to Kimberly Langston Cress. What do you do about a spouse who refuses to ever say sorry? What did you do for me?
What?
When I just, because
you never say sorry. You used to.
Right. Okay.
You would never say sorry, and so when he would never say sorry, it wasn't. I'll say this: he apologized, but it wasn't in the way that I was expecting it, because I was expecting him to say, well, we say here that if you say sorry, it means you're gonna do it again. But if you apologize if when he never did that, he would do it in his own way. Like if we knew that it was never physical, but when we were having disagreements and he would leave the house, that's when he would leave. And then I would call, he wouldn't answer. And then we would come back and he would
hang up on him.
He knows I hate that. We would talk about it, but it wouldn't be the same that same night. So the next day that he would leave and go to work, it wouldn't be too much, conversation. He would leave, and then when he would leave, when he came back that next evening, his way of apologizing was a candy bar or donuts, or I bought you something, or I thought of you, or a cup of ice, stuff like that he would do that he knew. And that was my way of saying, oh, well, he apologizing. Even though I wanted his mouth to be open and give me the words to say, I apologize, he didn't. And I got to the point, I was like, well, why don't he ever apologize? He expects me to do it, but then when he don't do it, it's okay. Why? I would say this, because he's Anthony Gerald Davis, and that's why it works.
Why you call my government?
Because I was just saying, everybody knows your government. You just told him 80 grand in the hole. He was 82. Everybody know your government. If the IRS know you, everybody know you.
Don't remind me. I got sick all over again.
But what I'm saying, that was his own way. So as time became, and as we grew on, and as our marriage became stronger, I already knew his way of apologizing. I already knew, I wasn't even setting myself up to look for him to say, I apologize. When he would bring the little snacks or bring the little this or bring the little that, that was his way. So over time, I learned if I don't ever get it out of his mouth, he'll do something physical or hand me something, or give me something to say. That was his way of apologizing.
But you know what? I've had to transition to that place because of saying, hey, look, you know what? Forgive me, right? Mm-hmm. Because the thing of it is that you have to acknowledge the fact that you want forgiveness, and you can't do that through a candy bar. I can't hand you something and say nothing, right? Because otherwise I'm just giving you something. Mm-hmm. And so I think that, through conflict, through us resolving conflict, the thing that I love about conflict is that it establishes boundaries and it set the proper expectations in communication. And so when she said, I get that you're bringing this stuff to me, but am I really supposed to be forgiving you, or is this a peace offering? Just what exactly is it? And so I realized at that point in time that I wasn't communicating what it was that I needed to communicate, which was, I need you to forgive me.
But I was, though. I was forgiving because
I understand that, but I needed to do that for me.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I already knew what it was when he did that. Especially when I got the giant candy bars.
Oh, Lord.
You know, the giant Hershey. You know, it's the king size, but then it's the, you know, the humongous size. When I got those, he was really sorry. Or, dude, the donuts. He come in with donuts.
Hey, look, and here's what's funny. So, like,
that was amazing.
So Sherelle said, y'all better buy me a gift, Team Smith. And then put the eyes up there, so don't you look.
I know. Sherelle, what I tell you about the eyes, dude?
And then, so, Chris said, yeah, no, okay. All right. So I'm glad we got that for you, Kimberly. All right. So, is there any more questions? If not, we're going to sign off this thing. And we hope that you guys were able to get something that you can apply to your life, apply to your marriage, and understand that your relationship needs your commitment. It needs your commitment to be on 10. Your forgiveness, you need to be
time,
forgiving.
Your work, energy, in every area, it needs it all. There's one area that cannot work without the other area. You need balance. There has to be a balance. And we enjoyed everything. I enjoyed everything. Enjoyed you, Faith. Enjoyed. Thanks everyone for the dialogue. This was awesome, and we will be doing it again. We'll announce when we doing it again, and I hope.
I thought it was Wednesday, and so typically we may do this on Wednesday, or if Tuesdays work, then we'll do this. Maybe not next week, but the week after. We'll just try to space them out because I don't want to bombard you guys with a bunch of information because really and truly. Anytime you do a seminar, only 10% of the information is really retained. All right. So again,
he just got bougie on y'all.
Yeah, because I paid somebody a lot of money to tell me that, and so
what?
Well, I'm gonna say invested because I learned a lot. Okay. And so I want to.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Jelena. Oh, co-pastor.
Great apostle, apostolic of faith.
What? We enjoyed you. Thank you, Tori. Waleed enjoyed you. Gloria, thank you all. What were you about to say?
Nothing. Hey, look. So we're gonna bust a move, and so.
Where'd you get that from?
Him downstairs.
Must have milk and cookies.
But anyway, so just stay tuned, guys. We love you guys. Again, stay up for the Women Wives or the Ladies Room conference call on Thursday night. Fellas, I need to see you guys on the huddle call on Monday nights at 8:30.
Wives, let's get them on that call. Let's get them on the call.
This past week, the call was crazy, right? The call was like absolutely crazy. So, fellas, man, don't forget. And I'm gonna try to put more reminders in the Stay Married page or in the group rather. I'm gonna put reminders back in the group.
Bernard, talk about y'all are welcome. Thank you, Bernard.
Yeah, JB. Right. JB, Junior Bishop.
JB, that's Junior Bishop.
And
Don't nothing get past Junior Bishop.
Also keep in mind April the 21st or is it 23rd? I don't know my
April
days.
21st, we will have date night at in Garner at the I was going to say Jumpin' Jack Flash at Kickback Jack. So we're looking to see all of you on date night. Let's
love
pack
you
it
too,
out.
Bernard.
We do love you. We love you, Bernard and Imbo. Let's pack Kickback Jacks out.
Yeah, let's pack it up.
7:00. I mean, we were up there this past week. Now we're bringing it back down to where we all can focus on us. And we had a good time, and we're gonna have a good time. I want to thank the ladies who came out for the ladies this past Saturday on the outing. We had a wonderful time. They kicked us out, but we had a good time. What?
All right, Chris Bone died. Jelena said, Chris said thanks. And so Sherelle said, that's what he get for not buying me a gift. All right.
There we go. Okay.
But, we love you guys. And keep in mind, I want you guys to also keep in mind Atlanta, right? The Atlanta launch in July.
July the 13th through the 15th. Dina K. Smith and her husband are doing an awesome job in getting this thing together. put your money aside, put
Put
your
it
stuff
aside.
aside, because we're going to Atlanta, and I haven't yet received those details. Yet she was on vacation, so she's getting back this week, and I will have those details as far as what the itinerary will be and the cost for the hotel rooms and everything. I will have that out there so you guys can know, and I think that's about it. Oh, well,
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kim, for tuning in. I wanna clear up something too, because I think that I want to make sure that everyone knows about the Marriage Empowerment Conference. We have Pastor Kareem and Lady Tashia Edwards coming to share. We've got Bishop Bernard Carter
and JB's wife,
Emberly Carter coming to share as well. We're going to have a Q&A panel, so you may be asked to get on the Q&A panel. And so the thing with the conference, if you guys would go, is if you go to youprosper.life, go to the
Gloria
events.
had a question.
I'm sorry.
Oh, but she called me. She texted me and asked me about the question about the payments.
Okay.
I don't think you finished
right.
that yet.
So what I'm going to tell you is that there are two different ways that you can actually get your ticket right now. So you can hold your spot. You can reserve your spot by getting a $25 ticket. Now, what's going to happen is whenever you reserve your spot, in 30 to 45 days, I'm going to say probably around, I want to say it was set up for June the 1st. I think June the 1st, you'll see another tab come out for the balance of the $79 ticket. Now, when June 1st hit, if you do not have the coupon link that you're going to need in order to finish paying the rest of your ticket off, the only way you're going to be able to get a ticket is you're going to have to pay $99. Okay, so in other words, you're getting pre-registration. You're getting a discount to do it up front. But I realize that some of us may not have the $79 that we need to do to register up front. So we can take a $25 payment, and then you'll see another ticket pop up. Or we'll email you the ticket that's going to give you the balance of that. And so you'll have that, and then you pay it through that, and then that way that secures you with your lower payment. June 1st, I'm gonna make this public to people outside of the Married to Stay Married group. So in June 1st, if the Married to Stay Married group hasn't booked all the seats out or haven't reserved all the seats, then it'll be open to the general public for $99. And also, there's not going to be a payment plan that you can actually go on. All right. So what you're going to get.
I hope Gloria heard that, because that was one of her questions. She wanted to go ahead and reserve her and her husband's spot. And she asked me that today, and I said,
so you click the $25. You click the $25 link, and then that'll reserve your spot. Or
I hope
if you want
got that, Glow. And Andre was asking for the information too. So I hope you got that as well, Dre.
So I'm gonna be trying to go live this week, or we'll be putting out infomercials about the conference and things. Infomercials, information commercial. All right, so
we'll come up with this. No.
Yeah, I'm brilliant. Okay, so I just want you to understand. Hey, look, that's why you see the two different ticket prices that are there. So what are you gonna get? You're gonna get the admission to the two sessions with Pastor and First Lady Edwards. You're gonna get the admission to Emily and Bernard's talk. I've been hearing about what Bernard is actually setting up to do, and it's freaking amazing. With him and his wife, we're going to be discussing, and then we're going to have the Q&A panel that afternoon. We're also going to be serving a buffet lunch. Okay, so it's going to include a buffet lunch, and also we're going to have conference T-shirts. Okay, for Married to Stay Married, the Empowerment Conference, the Marriage Empowerment Conference. And so that's going to also include
is it $79 per person or $79 per couple?
$79 per couple.
Per couple, Jerlina.
Per couple.
$79 per couple, and after that date, it will be $99. Per couple. Okay.
All right. So the thing of it is, we want you to register early. We want to make sure it's a very limited space. This is our first conference, and we're expecting to be able to try to move this thing around. We want to take it to Atlanta and do a conference there. And next year, we want to be able to. So next year, I want to have 4 different conferences in 4 different areas of the country. and let's just see how this works out.
Thank you,
and I
Sherelle,
need you
for
guys'
putting
help.
up the link for the husband's huddle as well as the ladies' room. Thank you for putting those links up, and as well as the You Prosper Life. You guys are rock. You guys, you guys are an awesome team. Everybody, we want to thank each and every one of you, because each and every one of you play a part. There's no big, there's no little. A part is a part, and we love you all equally. Every one of you. And ain't no what did my mom say? John Brown it.
Thing you can do about it.
John Brown it.
All
I
right.
heard that one. John
So
Brown it.
we love you guys, and if you have any other questions about the
Texas,
please
call dude, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
And if you don't
919-909-8232 is my number.
Mine is 919-909-1421.
All right. So we love you guys, and we'll see you. Oh, and also if you know someone that wants to be a vendor, we're gonna have T-shirts. We're gonna have the regular Married to Stay Married T-shirts. We're gonna have bands. We'll have You Prosper gear there. I'm actually working out a deal right now. Junior Bishop, I know you were asking about the pullover T-shirt, the pullover polo shirts.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so those shirts are a little bit more pricier than the T-shirts, but I mean they're nice shirts. Mm-hmm. So
we got shirts too. The Winnie Wives got
Winnie Wives has a special edition shirt. Please get your order.
Ladies, get your order. Actually, we're getting ready to end this off.
Yeah, because
I need just a few more, and we're going to end this off, so we can go ahead and get them, because we've got it to a certain account. We've been putting it off. I'm getting ready to end this order this week, and I need your order. So if you know someone, thank you to all of those who have already purchased yours. Thank you. If you know someone, let's get it in. This is our first round, and once the order is in, that's it. I want to give everybody, an equal opportunity.
Right, because these shirts are gonna probably be banging, and you're gonna be like,
I'm trying to tell you,
you can't get. You're not gonna be able to get one, because once we order, I mean, it's a one-time shot
These
deal.
shirts are gonna be mad cute.
Yeah, so it's a one-time shot deal. All right, so we love you guys, and again, the conference is October 13th. I don't think we put the date on, but anyway, we'll see you guys next.
No, okay, that's right, October the 13th.
We'll see you guys next time, and look for the flyer, because we'll have a flyer for the event coming up shortly. Okay. All right, love you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.